Hello all, welcome to my YouTube channel. So in today's video we are going to see a difference between commands versus entry point. Actually there are some confusions because both the terminology or both the terms basically we specify in Dockerfile and they serve the something or some kind of similar purpose, but they behave in a different manner. So let's understand the difference. Let's see the first, what is Docker command. So basically Docker commands are actions that you perform on your terminal to interact with Docker. For example, you have to start a container, you run a Docker start container or container ID. Same thing for, like, if you have to build the Docker image, you run the Docker commands like Docker build. So these are the actions which you perform in your terminal to interact with Docker. Think of it like as a tool to control your containers manually, because once you run the command it exits. What is entry point basically? So entry point is a setting which we specify in a Docker file that decide basically when we start the container or when the container will start, how it behaves. So basically it set the behaviors of the container during whenever we do a start, stop or restart the containers. What the specific second settings basically that execute every time whenever you start your containers. So this is a behavior, and the Docker commands are actions which you perform to manage your container, and the entry point is a behavior of container, or I would say we set up some kind of setting to behave a container in a manner that we specify. So for example, this is simple Docker file. So here you can see the from instruction to where we specify our base image and the entry point. So whenever the container start, it will always print hello world because we have a specified entry point. So you create containers multiple times, you start containers, every time it will print echo, which will basically print the output hello world. So this is the behavior which we are setting up in a Docker file. Whenever the container will start, it will print the hello world output. So like for example, if we configure or if we containerize our application, we want some kind of DLLs which will execute when the container will start. So we will access our applications. Let's see the key difference between both the terms. So Docker commands are what you run, and entry point is what runs automatically when the container starts. So this is the main difference. So Docker commands generally we run manually, and we can also specify in a Docker file. Like for example, if I have to install a pip, then we mention the command to install the pip in our application. Or for example, you have to install a Python, then we specify a command in our Docker file, and once the command executed, it will exit the process. And in entry points, it runs automatically when the container start. Docker command is flexible and can do many tasks, but entry point is basically more focused on the behavior of your containers, like what main task it should perform when it start. Docker commands basically generally used for controlling your container, but the entry point basically define the behavior of your container. So this is the major difference between Docker commands and entry point. And Docker commands can also modify or replace entry point behavior. If you have to do like manually, you have to pass the hyphen entry point flag to change the behavior of your container. That you can do, so that we will see in a demo. So for example, I have taken here example one, like the same Docker file. So from instruction, again we have a base image of U12, and here you can see I have specified both the terms CMD and entry point. If you are specifying both the terms CMD and entry point in your Docker file, then basically it will append with your entry point. So whenever we start a container from this particular image which we will create, it will always print a hello demo. So it is the default behavior. So if you can see here, entry point basically here specifying the executable echo and the default argument hello. So this is executable and this is the argument. So if we have to modify or replace this hello with some another keywords, that we can do with the help of hyphen entry point flags. And basically command CMD here basically is the additional default argument. to the entry point. So whenever we run our container from this particular image, it will always print hello demo. So let's do in a demo, then it will be more clear. So here, this is the simple Docker file which I have. Let me edit it. So you can see it's a very small Docker file. So here I have specified command CMD is demo and entry point is echo hello. Let me correct the spelling, echo hello. Okay, so now I will build the image from this particular Docker file, and let's see what happened. We are not overriding anything. We will just see the default behavior of both the terms. Let me close it, and I will open a command prompt here. Let me build the image, docker build, and let's give a tag here, demo image, and Docker file name, which I will specify dot. So our Docker image has been created. Let's verify Docker images. So we can see a demo image which we have created. Let's clear the console, sorry, CLS. Now we will run a container from this particular Docker image. So we will run docker run, and image name is demo image. So I have not specified any kind of flags here. It's a default run which we are going to perform here. So you can see we are getting hello demo. So basically it appended the CMD in entry point. So in common sense, if I would say CMD and entry point works together. Now if I have to change the behavior, or if I have to override the CMD argument, instead of demo I want to put some another words, then let's do this. So here again what I will do, I will run docker run, and here I will provide my image name, which is demo image. So now what we are going to do, we are overriding the CMD argument which we have specified here, demo. This we are changing here. Now here I will give for example word. So now if you can see, we have just override the CMD argument instructions or value here. So now we are getting hello world. Earlier we were getting hello demo. Okay, so these two are separate containers obviously. Now let's try to modify a entry point which is hello here. Let's see what happened. So for this, what I will do, I will again then docker run hyphen entry point, and now what we have to do here, we have to give a value. Let me see the command. Okay, so echo basically, and then I will give it here test and my image name. Okay, docker is not recognized, and okay, so I think some commands issue. Okay, so actually the test message which we are changing, we have to pass after the image. Sorry, let's see, put demo image. Actually I have specified wrong image name, and here I will give test. Okay, so docker run, maybe we need to put it in double quotes because the command is docker run hyphen entry point, and the keyword here is echo, which is correct, and the image name is also correct, demo image, and test. Let's put it in double quotes. So here I will give test. Okay, actually the command itself I have put it wrong, so let's me correct it. So it's double R here. Now let's run it. So now it's only printing test because we have changed the behavior of entry point here. So basically we have overridden the entry point entry here. So earlier we have override the CMD value. Now we have modified or override the value of entry point. So if you have to at a runtime, if you have to modify or override the value of your entry point, that you can do with the hyphen entry point flag. I hope it's clear. So there are few key points which I have mentioned based on this particular sample example. So the CMD value is append to the entry point unless explicitly overridden. So that we have already seen when we have run a default run, it print us hello demo. And if you have to override the value of your entry point, we have to specify hyphen entry point. And if you don't want hello to always appear and modify the entry point or use only CMD, like if we have to put it only echo and we don't want to specify any value, then we should keep it blank and we just change the value of your CMD instructions. So that's how basically you can utilize the entry point and command prompt instructions in your Docker file. So it's basically works together. That's the main point. But the entry point decide the behavior of your container when it got started, and CMD basically it's a kind of action which is performed and it will exit. So I hope it's clear. That's all for today. See you next video. Thank you so much.